All right, all right. What's up, everybody? It's comedian Leon the Jokester here. Man, how y'all doing, man? Oh my goodness. Sorry for my hair. I got my hair appointment, barbershop deal this afternoon for the show tomorrow. I'll be headlining over at in Miami. Let me scoot up. Okay, so Miami, Oklahoma, we're coming your way tomorrow. I'm headlining, man. I'm gonna do a comedy show and I'm gonna be on stage for an hour, man. We're gonna have some fun. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have some fun. I'm sorry, I just came out of rehearsal and everything, and I'm just still kind of in that zone. You know, a lot of people don't understand this about comedy. Comedy is so deep, bro. It's like just the science behind it. It's not just like, oh, I just got these five jokes and I think it's gonna work. Like it's deeper because it's a connection. Like I believe comedy is very spiritual because comedy is spiritual because you're connecting with the people. If you're doing stand-up comedy right, it's spiritual because you're connecting with the people. So let's say you get on stage and you're disconnected from the people, and then it's not going to go well. Why? Because it's going to look like you're just disconnected from the people. But if you get on stage and your whole focus is the people and your surroundings and being aware of other things that could possibly happen, that's where comedy is at. That's where you make the connection. Um Listening while on stage, like there's things that you need to be paying attention to. I remember I did a show, I headlined a show a few years back in Kansas. It was Coffeeville, Kansas. And I was talking about my wife. And I remember as soon as I got done talking about how my wife wants me to stay home like all the time and just do chores and everything. And then as soon as I got done with that joke, guess what happened? From the kitchen, because we were by a kitchen, it was like a retirement home. In the kitchen, of the phone rang. The phone rang. And you know what I did? Because I was so in tune with my surroundings, I said, that's probably my wife right there. And everyone just fell out their seat laughing because they knew that wasn't in my original script. They also knew it was spontaneous humor. And when it's spontaneous, it's the best. That's the best type of humor. That's the humor and laughter that you receive when you're around your friends and you're like, oh, I think I could do stand up. Stand up is different, bro, because around your friends, you could be funny all the time. You're used to them, right? Well, imagine going to a whole new city, whole new state, meeting 500 people that you never met before. So they're complete strangers and they're not obligated to laugh. They don't even have to laugh at anything that you're saying. So it's important for the comedian to really, really try to tap into the people as soon as possible. Like you need to learn to create stuff that kind of gives you that, hey, I'm here. I'm here for you. Let's do this together. Tell me about this. Let's find out about that. And before you know it, you'll be in the zone. You will kind of black out. You'll be like, man, I love you guys. And then the next thing you know, you'll be saying stuff like, man, we should go out to eat. What y'all doing after this? Y'all want to go out to eat? You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't you do that stuff? I think a lot of times people get on stage, and I did it when I first started. You get on stage and you just got this long script of jokes, and you're just like, I got to get all this material out within the time frame. Like right now, I probably have in my memory about 2 hours and maybe 15 minutes worth of content. 2 hours and 15 minutes worth of content. And the reason for that is not because I'm going to be able to do it all, it's because I just keep growing in the craft of comedy. So the average person, if you're booked at a show and you're showcasing your headlining, you probably need that good 60. But imagine if you could do 90. I did 90 at that school in Kansas. My wife took me to it. She recorded the whole thing. The reason why I never put it on YouTube is because I don't want lazy comedians just stealing stuff. Because what people will do is they'll sit back, they say, how in the world is he getting booked at schools and middle schools, high schools, and colleges? Maybe he'll post the whole set online, then we could just take notes. Oh, he said that at that point. Okay, let me say it this way. Let me take some of that and say it that way. And what happens is you get a whole bunch of people that are just being lazy. Because you remember, I come from the generation where there was no social media. So if I had 2 hours worth of content, I could travel for years. That's why it's kind of sad when you see like comedians that are seasoned, because you could tell that they weren't doing their homework. You could tell, you could see it right now. Like, let's say in 2005, I started doing comedy, no social media. I do these jokes, they kill. Every time I hit the stage, they kill, right? Hypothetically speaking. So you do that for 10 years. That puts you at 2015, right? Then let's say 2, 3 years later, the pandemic happened. So now what you see now is a whole bunch of jokes that you've been saying over and over and over again. Like there's these comics, I know a few comics, they're pretty household names too. And I noticed they kept doing the same jokes every video. And that's when I realized, I said, yep, they capitalized. They capitalized on comedy, but they didn't grow. So what happens now is, let's say your favorite comic, you keep watching them and watching them, you're like, I've heard that already. What's next? What's next? And see, I don't do that. I don't do that, bro. Like the show that I'm doing tomorrow at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M, those jokes can never be done anywhere else. You know why? Because I customized those jokes just for that college. You feel me? Like I customized those jokes just for that college. So when they hear the material, they're gonna be like, when they hear it, when they hear the stuff, they're gonna be like, yeah, that's us. And so why did I do that? It's because I care about the audience. I care about the crowd. A lot of people won't believe me when I say this, and some people may say it sounds arrogant, but I'm not trying to be arrogant. But I gotta share it, man. Maybe this will help another up and coming comic. Last week, right? I had finalized my comedy set. I have everything I want to say when I hit the stage. Everything I want to say plus more, right? Because when you get on stage, you'll find out where your mind goes and what's supposed to happen, whatever. Sometimes we work it out on stage, right? Live. Um, Man, my mustache got kind of long. Uh um, so last week I finished. I finished the set. Tell me why I threw away 20 minutes of it. I threw away 20 minutes of it and I said, I don't like these jokes. And the crazy part was what I threw away, I had already started rehearsing. Normally I don't do that. If I finalize a set and then I start rehearsing it, that's it. Like funny or not, here I come. And so I threw away 20 minutes, bro. Threw away 20 minutes of the set. And you know what I did? And within the next 8 hours, I threw it away. And then the next 8 hours, I wrote an entire new 20 minutes. An entire new 20 minutes. Now, the crazy part is, if I have enough time, I'll try some of that material. If I have enough time. The way that I've been timing out, I've only been able to do my first two sets, and that's been going over time, over the 60 minutes. So I threw away 20 minutes, rewrote another 20 minutes in 8 hours, same day, 20 minutes. And then I rehearsed it and I said, yep, I this is it. This is it right here. I like this. I like this. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. And the reason why I share that is because, again, I'm not trying to boast, brag, be arrogant. The reason why I say this is because when God gives you a gift, right? It doesn't come with repentance. It doesn't come with regret or anything like that. Like, like God is with you, no matter how hard it gets. And when you learn how to write comedy and you learn the joke structure and you learn and you take out the time to care about it, and then you will be able to write and rewrite a 20-minute set. Even this morning, I had like 3 new jokes I had to add just because it was that funny. I mean, the proximity of those jokes are like just mind-boggling. Like, it's gonna kill. And like, I'm not one to say, oh, it's gonna kill on stage. This is going to kill on stage. Why? Because it was too close to home. And a lot of times when comedians travel, they don't even care about, oh, I'm out of town, I should have done more research. They don't care about being too close to home with their material. Me, I'm all about that. Like, if I'm out of town tomorrow, which I will be, like, I'm the away player and they're at home. So the away player has to work even harder to win the home team over. You get what I'm saying? So for them to be able to respect me and what I do for a living as a comedian, I have to really, really bring it. Like, if it was a student at the college or at the high school or at the middle school that was doing comedy and they knew him, then it may be it's still going to be challenging, but because comedy is still challenging at times, but they go there. But with me, I'm a complete stranger. I'm coming from the outside. So it's like an away game. So if I am smart, I would have done, which I did, a lot of research on the school, a lot of research on all kinds of stuff. Fact check this. I had to go back in, make sure that I saw what I was supposed to see several times. You know what I'm saying? And no second guessing, man. This is what it is. And again, I'm really, really proud of the material. I'm really proud of what God has given me. I'm proud that the Lord's gonna show up and show out on stage with me. It's just gonna be fun. And I believe that all my hard work, all the long hours and practicing and more practicing, it's all like it comes down to this, like this very moment. It comes down to this very moment that, like, yo, it's showtime, man. Like, it's showtime. Like, I can't wait. This is gonna be so much fun. I found my audience, man. I found my lane. I want to do the colleges. I want to do the high schools. I want to do the middle schools. I want to be a public speaker for the educational system, man. Like, the education system. Like, I want people to learn and grow. Like, I want to go there and know that, like, the content is relatable and it's just going to get better and better. Like, imagine being able to go somewhere and you can say, well, tonight I'm going to do this hour. Tomorrow night, I got another show. I'm going to do another hour. Like, I just got booked for more shows in December. My calendar's starting to fill up because, December is the holidays and people have like little Christmas parties. And so I'm really excited about those shows, But again, like I said, if you already have your 20 minutes, then another 40 minutes, then a 60 minutes, you know what I'm saying? And then you're booked to do 20 minutes, that's going to be a cakewalk. Why? Because your mind is ready for the longer sets. And I've noticed something on YouTube recently. A lot of comedians have been doing a lot of comedians have been doing 20 minutes sets and calling it a comedy special. I did a comedy special that was 20 minutes, but it was only because they booked me for 20 minutes and I just called it a comedy special. But it's almost as if that's the new 60 minutes. So I don't know. I mean, Dry Bar, I know they're 20 minutes. It used to be like a little longer. I think they used to be like 30 to 45 and then they cut it down. But now I'm seeing like, yo, like you could come do dry bar 20 minutes. You can go and you could do your own comedy special in the comedy club or somewhere and just call it your 20 minutes. But we got to work out the material. One thing I'll say about corporate shows, you don't get a chance to work out a lot of material sometimes. You don't. Because think about it like this. If you did write a joke that was a college joke, right? How are you going to do that at the comedy club when there may not be any college students there? It's just going to be a little awkward if you just keep throwing out comedy jokes. I mean, college jokes, right? Well, think about it like this. Like, if you write all new material that relates only to that college, the only time you get to really put it on stage is at that show. So you better be sure that it's that good. So then, while you're up there, that's why it was so important for me to have shorter jokes, get in and get out like a bank robbery. Like I didn't want to go into like these long drawn out bits because I feel like you always lose the crowd. Like you can have a few. I think I have about 5. 1, 2. Yeah, I have about 5 that I would say, or at least 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes max. I think it's important in comedy to test the waters and just see like how far you can go with a joke. Like when you get on stage, you'll know if you said enough. If you see that everyone's laughing and then you could keep going, you could say stuff, you could add stuff. If you see that nobody's saying anything, you just go on to the next joke and life goes on. But I'm telling you, man, like the open mics are funny because they give you 3 minutes. By the time you get up there, move the mic around like the mic stand, and it's like you cough and your time is up. It's over. But when you're headlining, you get an opportunity to get comfortable with the crowd. You do. Like you really, really get intimate with the crowd if they let you. If you notice that like you're not really hearing much laughter and it's just kind of like, wow, like y'all ain't really feeling these jokes, huh? Man, that's okay. I said I have to bring out the historical black college jokes. Yeah, it's like that's the stuff you got to do in the moment. You just like in the moment just now, you have to do that. Like, because you never know. You never know how it's going to go. Like, every comedian goes in with the mindset that we're going to win. Like, we want to win. We want to win with the crowd. Like, no comedian says, oh, give me a bad crowd. Give me a crowd that's not going to be in tune. You want a good crowd, But then I also realized something about the crowd. Like, if the crowd is ready to connect and they're ready to receive you, see, that's the most important thing. The number one thing in comedy is the relationship with the audience. And the thing about it is that you have to be received by them, right? If you're not received by them, then they will have a hardened heart. It's kind of like the Bible. Like you could receive it as God's word, or you can like harden your heart and you won't be able to enjoy it. Like if someone talks about God, or Jesus or whatever, then they will have a hardened heart towards you because they didn't let Jesus in to move and flow in love God, love people, But if you like, same thing with comedy, like if they have a hardened heart, they're not connected to you, then you're not going to hear the laughter. But if for whatever reason they're like rooting for you, you're like, man, like let's have a good time, like let's laugh, let's enjoy life. Your jokes are gonna work. Like I've done countless shows where the people just sat there and just stared at me. And those same jokes went to another venue and killed. And so it started making me wonder, like, well, what is this about? But I get it now. I get it. It's like you have people who come to a comedy show and they're ready to laugh. All you got to do is do the hard work and make sure that you have real jokes. But if you do the hard work and you have real structured jokes and they're still not laughing, and normally around this time you would get the laughter, and then it's not you. It's not you. It's actually the crowd at that point. Now the good thing about some of these school shows, it's more people in the crowd. So the good thing about that is everyone may not laugh, but the majority, if you can get the majority of them to laugh, and then they understand what you're doing and how you're delivering the joke, I think it'll work. But like I said before, I like headlining because I get intro music. I get to play around with the crowd a little bit before I get into the real jokes. I get to throw out a few little jokes. I get to, like I said, interact a little bit more. Like that just alone can take me 7 to 10 minutes. Well, that 7 to 10 minutes, you just open up their heart so they can hear you for the next 50 minutes, right? And again, I went over all my stuff and it's still like going over time. So I already know that at the end of the day is I'm not going to finish. I'm not going to finish everything, but I'm not going in there just to try to get as much material done. Like I learned that a long time ago. Don't beat yourself up because you didn't get every single joke you ever written on that stage that night. You know what I'm saying? Like what you need to do is get connected in the presence, be present with the people. Like, how y'all doing, bro? Like, y'all good? Y'all ready for midterms? You know what I'm saying? Like you really got to connect with the people. Like, how's your soccer team doing? Like y'all ready for intramurals? Like these are just like simple. We're not even trying to be funny, but that's a segue into a joke. Like I didn't get a chance to write any intramural jokes this time around, but if I was to do one, it was going to be something along the lines of if you get involved in intramurals, that's great. But let me just say this: it's just for fun. It's just for fun. Like don't get involved in intramurals and think that this is your ticket to the NBA. Because intramurals, you have 3-on-3 basketball, 5-on-5 basketball, and sometimes you would get on a team that will forget it's just for fun. It's just for fun. Nobody's going to the NBA. It's just for fun. Pause. So that would have been along the lines of what I was trying to do if I was to do an intramural joke at a college, because every college has intramurals. But again, you don't have to research every single thing that goes on at college either. Sometimes it's just a matter of you just going on stage and just being yourself and tossing out different jokes that you worked on and letting people know your experiences and just really, really, focusing in on what is the best next joke and then go from there. But like I said before, man, like I'm super speechless. God did it. You know what I'm saying? He did it, man. He did it. I'm blown away, man, because hard work pays off. Like I got out the zone, of writing like I should have a few months ago. I was like, I did a show in May and then I took like a nice little break. Like, I mean, when I say a break, I'm talking about a nice little break. And it was kind of like a setback for me because what happens is you would get relaxed. And then over the summer, we had family visiting. I was spending time with my wife and son because they're out of school. And I was just like so focused on everything but comedy. So then when everyone went back to school, back to work, then I only had like 2 months to prepare. And by the grace of God, I got everything done that was supposed to be done. But I told myself I'll never do that again. Like from now on, I will always make sure every day is a writing day, whether I do one joke, 2, 3 jokes, whatever, whatever. Like I'm gonna make sure every single day after tomorrow that when we write a joke, we're writing a joke for that moment, for that day, and we're gonna go from there. And then after we do that, man, I mean, you're talking about another hour, 2 hours worth of material. Just make sure your stuff is writing and is clear. And because what happens is, when you get into those bits, those longer bits, it does feel time. Like, I mean, my marriage set, I ended up doing 2 versions of it. And that right there alone, if I was just as focused on that, that's like another 6, 7 minutes. You know what I'm saying? The bit that I do about my wife and son in sports, that's another bit, another 5 minutes. You got to understand, you don't have that much time. You got an hour. So even with that hour, you're like, okay, let me do this joke. Okay, this joke works. Okay, let me do this joke. And before you know it, that's how you know, like, okay, I have a polished hour. Like, this is good content and it's delivered the right way. And you just got to be focused, man. You got to be prayed up. You got to be focused and you go out there and do what you got to do. I love the flip side to my comedy where it's like, man, I'm on cloud 9. And then what else do I have next? And so, yeah, I'm going to take my family out this weekend to the fair. We're going to have a good time and then go from there. But the biggest thing is like, they're going to record it at the show tomorrow. I'm really excited about that because it's always good to have more content and to be able to have something that you can send to like booking agencies and whatnot. And, for representation. And then I don't know, man. That's I don't know what more to say. I'm like so tired right now, man. I need my 39-year-old nap, right now because I don't want to say I wore myself out, but I got so excited today because you guys gotta understand, man, 2 hours and 15 minutes worth of content. Because what I did was, I'll say this and then we'll go. Let me say 2 things, then we'll go. I was doing the rehearsal, right? And then before I knew it, I realized that, wow, I got 2.5 hours worth of material. And I did the whole set. I wasn't going to stop, what I'm saying? Just because, like, the more you practice, the more it's just going to come. And naturally, the Lord opened the door where it's like, in my mind, it's all hitting like hard, like everything is like connected. Like, I do that joke, I know what comes next. I do this joke, I know what comes next because it's like scenes, and it's like as long as I know what the next topic is, which I do, and then it's like okay, get into that scene, and so you say what you got to say, you get in, you get out, and then you keep it moving, and that's how you're gonna keep that laughter going. You know what I'm saying? Like I like that, like in and out. None of this like well, let me tell you about 10 minutes of my life that's not even born. I mean, it is born. Like you better come with it, man. And so um the other thing I was gonna say was, a comedian once told me, his name was Jeff Neese. He said, Leon, don't be the blind comedian, be the comedian that just so happens to be blind. And although everyone knows I'm blind in my right eye, but I can see out my left, even though that's a fact, you know what I'm saying? Like the stigmatism, the blur, all that stuff affects me. The thing about it is that you gotta push yourself to the next level, man. You do. You gotta push yourself to the next level. Like that day, I'll go over my set and I'll probably go take a nap. Probably gonna take a nice little nap. And I'm not one to take naps, but I want to be well rested when I hit that stage. And I was gonna say, Jeff Nee said that, and I didn't get it at first because I was like, man, I'm vision impaired. How am I going to not talk about it? But he said, when you get into writing, you'll end up writing funny stuff that has nothing to do with your vision impairment. You can still reference it, but you don't have to make that your whole set. And he was right. He was right. When I first came out, I used that. I was like, okay, focus on my disability. You get to know who I am. But now I don't have to be so focused on just that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can do other things. You know what I'm saying? Like I could do other things now. You know, he did tell me this before. He said, challenge yourself one day to do a whole set, right? He didn't really put a specific time. It could have been 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. He said, don't say anything about your eyes until the very end. It was like, oh, by the way, blind people, like, why not? I was like, man, that would be kind of cool. Because I always feel like I have to let people know in the beginning so then they understand when I do make a reference later on. Like but I have changed. My set has changed tremendously because when I first came out, that's all I wanted people to focus on was my disability. But then I started thinking like, well, I'm not a clutch. Like I'm not using that as a crutch. Yeah, that's a clutch. I'm not using it as a crutch. Like I'm actually like funny and I'm actually writing better now. Like I'm writing better bits. So then when it's time to hit the stage, my dog is crazy. When it's time to hit the stage, I'm not concerned about like, oh yeah, by the way, like I forgot to tell y'all 60 minutes later, I'm vision impaired. So I'm tired, man. I'm tired. But I'm happy though, because it takes a lot of hard work to get to this stage. And I want to thank God. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for your support. Okay. I think I'm gonna take a nap after I get my hair cut. Goodbye.